If me and another person, we have the same skin tone, but we speak different languages, versus I speak the same language as someone else with a different skin color than me, who am I going to relate to more? More than likely, I'm going to relate to the person I speak the same language with. This is why race is really a concept that was embedded in us. In different parts of the world, man, like one thing I hate about growing up in the West is that culture is so compartmentalized, right? So we look at things and we say, like, these people are this skin color, they do this. These people are this skin color, they do that. These people are this skin color, they do that. And I wanted to ask a question. Why must everything be so racialized all the time? And living in the United States, you don't realize how racialized things are. And we've made great progress. You know, I'm not trying to make it that kind of talk about discrimination or these people or that people. I'm just saying, as humans for a second, think about this. We are all on the same planet. It's not like we are living on different planets. We're all living on planet Earth. As far as we know, there's no other planet for us to live in. And the difference that we're beefing over is what color were you born? But I had a friend from Serbia, and he told me, he was like, in the States, you guys argue over what color you are. He was like, where he's from, they argue over what religion you are. So I'm learning that we are constantly fighting each other. Like humans, we fight each other over these differences, these power struggles. It's kind of hard for us to have peace. And why I think that is difficult for us to have peace is we don't know too much. Like most of us, including me, I'm included in this, I don't know as much as I should know. And so I'm operating out of ignorance a lot of times. So listen, if I've ever told you something silly, I told you something stupid, I told you something that hurt your feelings, forgive me, pardon me, because I'm human and I make mistakes. And a lot of times I was probably operating on premises that I thought was true, and they turned out to be a fallacy. It's things that I've learned recently that made me question, like, man, what if I would have learned this earlier? What if I would have learned this sooner? And then I'm also guilty of being fearful of learning new things. And it's very possible for me to fear learning something that may be commonplace for someone else. So we have to keep an open mind, man. The world is such a beautiful place. And recently, as I've been into language learning, I've been learning Spanish, and I haven't studied the last 2 weeks because I was in Chicago. Now I was with family. Now I'm back in Houston. And one of the things that got me is, like, when you could speak a person's language, you could tune into their frequency. So it's very ironic that people went from considered people who spoke the same language as them or had similar religious practices as them as part of the same group. And then it shifted in the last 500, 400 years to what skin color you are. You got to really understand how wild that is, because it's like, imagine one person is born on the one side of the world, another person is born on the other side of the world. The only thing that unites you guys is your skin color. But your culture is different, your belief systems are different, and you can live right next door to a person who speaks the same language as you, generally had the same experiences as you, but because their skin color is different, they are othered. You don't see how wild that is? You know what I'm saying? And so learning language is something that broke a lot of barriers for me. Stay with me, okay? Because in learning Spanish, or learning any language, not just Spanish, but when you learn a language, language is not race-based. You don't speak a language because you are a certain race. You can be any skin tone, any skin color, and speak a certain language. So you could be white or so-called white. You could be black or so-called black. You could be brown and speak Arabic. Same thing with any other language. You can be from any part of the world and speak Mandarin. Now, culturally, certain languages, was cultivated in certain areas. So usually they have a people that predominantly speak that language. So that's why we attribute race and skin color with language. But language is just a form of communication. Stay with me. You gotta feel how deep this is. So usually when we hear things like in the English dialect, we say things like, "Oh, this person is talking white," or "This person sounds black," or "This person." These are stereotypes to a degree, but what we also have to realize is that language is just a form of communication. It's just a means to communicate. Language is not really race-based, as crazy as that sounds. But we make it race-based. So like if a person see me like, speaking Spanish, I might say, hola, buenos días, or buenos tardes. Yo quiero ordenar un café con leche, por favor. Gracias. Oh, now when you hear me speaking Spanish, let's say you only knew me from that. Now you're judging me, or I'm judging you. You see a person switch from Spanish to English, you judge them. You see a person speaking German and then they come back and speak English to you because you might not know that other language, excuse me. Because you might not know that other language, it's easy for us to judge them and think like, oh, this person is different, So it's just interesting that language should be more of and it is, but it should be even more of the cultural point that ties us together. Instead, language is something, once again, that's used to divide us. Religion, belief systems. If we could all agree that no one should be mistreated, that should bring us together. Sports, everything that could, music, everything that could be used to bring us together is commonplace for those things to be used in this current world that we're living in to tear us apart. And I'm guilty of this too. I'm guilty. I do this too. I discriminate against people. I have thoughts and I say things that's like, whoa, like why, when I really break it down, I'm like, who taught me to think like that? Why do I think like that? So I'm challenging myself. And I say you could challenge yourself too. And welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, hit like, share, subscribe. I am a historian, author, and a person that's just living life, learning as I'm going. I'm still learning. I don't know everything. So leave room for me to change my opinion on certain things as I gather new information.